Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio MLB Closing Time Show. It is Monday, September 13th. Ian Cameron, Conor Mac, and our Monday guest, Skee Profit, along for the ride, ready to break down this Monday MLB card. However, we do also have an NFL Monday Night Football game, and our tradition here on the Closing Time Show during the week is we do hit the football as well at the end of the show. So we will give you our thoughts on the Ravens and the Raiders as well at the end of the show, Monday Night Football for tonight. But we'll start with the baseball with a small card, I guess you could say, just 7 games remaining, and including the one game that moron Ian didn't realize was an afternoon game until the game had already started. I thought that game was at night, and I'm lining up to take Minnesota. And then I get off the football show, and I'm like, wait a minute, that game started already. And it's 5-0 Twins. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me, man. I was going to bet Minnesota. It was plus 170. The dog against the slumping Yanks. And sure enough, I thought it was a night game when it was really a 2 p.m. Eastern game. And here we go. That's on me. I've got no one to blame but myself. I should know when the schedule is. I should know when these games start. That's up to me to know that. And I've maybe cost myself a win because of that, unless the Yankees come back, which with their offense lately, I wouldn't hold my breath. All right, let's get to it, guys. We'll start with this Monday MLB card. Welcome in everybody in the chat for joining us. Thank you. Hit the like button. Make sure you do that. Let's get it rocking and rolling. We got the Marlins and the Nationals. Sandy Alcantara, Paolo Espino, your pitching matchup in this one. We've got Miami, slight road favorites here, minus 110, total 7.5 here across the board. 2 teams playing for exercise, as I like to say at this time of year. When you're talking 2 teams not in the playoffs. Sandy's a bet on pitcher here for me for the most part. I know on the road he's not been as durable at times or as consistent, but overall you like his form at the moment. 2 runs or less that he has allowed in 5 of his last 6 starts. He had 1 rough outing against the Mets. Other than that, he's been pretty solid. Espino for the Nationals. He got roughed up in his last start, 5 runs, 7 hits, 5 innings. The Nationals are a pretty dreadful track record in terms of winning with Espino on the mound. Last 7 starts, they're 1-6 in Espino's 7 starts, in his last 7 starts. He did pitch well against the Marlins back in July, shut them out in 5 innings. Washington won that game. But consistently as of late, they are kind of struggling at the moment, this Nationals team in terms of winning games with Espino on the mound, kind of struggling overall. Miami's actually won 3 of their last 5, and I like the effort we've seen from them. I thought they gave the Braves a pretty decent battle over the weekend, a team that's obviously trying to hang on to first place in the NL East, a lot to play for Atlanta. I thought Miami had a decent series overall, competitive, hung in there, had a chance to win a couple of those games, and they did win one of the games against Atlanta. So I definitely favor Sandy over Espino a little bit. So if I'm betting this game, I'm looking at Miami. They have taken the money, and I agree with it. I'd look Marlins here, first 5 for full game split. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, shout out to Damon. Yeah, my fantasy last year seemed like I lost by under a point like 2 or 3 weeks. And I have Raiders running back. He's got Waller tonight, and I don't know if he's going to play. So it doesn't look good for me. But shout out.
Upgraded. He got upgraded.
Yeah,
he's probably gonna play.
Is he probable? Okay. Yeah, they said he practiced Thursday. That he was better. It wasn't COVID, but we'll see. We'll see if I can pull rabbit out of the hat, or Damon's gonna beat me. To this one, I lean the Marlins a little bit. I thought this was a quick cross off for me. I always like taking under in Marlins games, so I lean the first 5 under, but I didn't bet it. And I'm with you, and I lean the Marlins a tad bit. In this one, I don't trust him as much on the road. He's pitched better. His last road start with the Mets, September 2nd, he gave up 4, and then Cincy, August 22nd, he gave up 2. So it's just a lean here with the Marlins for me.
All right, Skee, what do you like here, Miami, Washington?
Yes, it's been kind of, all these sports started in NFL, college football. I've kind of been taking it easy on MLB. And I just like you, Ian, I kind of didn't look at it too hard, and I thought that Twins game was going to be at 1 p.m. I did want to just mention, because I'm not on here all the time, and it was going to be my play today, that the Yankees have allowed 5+ runs in their last 9 games. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at Yankees games, other teams, team total. For this Miami and Washington game, for me, it's tough. The bats for Miami, I don't really trust that much. The last 2 weeks, they haven't been doing much versus right-handed pitching, and the Nationals have. But at the same time, I definitely trust how Alcantara has been looking the last few starts. I think his last 3 starts, 2.42 ERA over,
Yeah.
what was that, 22 innings.
Strikeouts. Yeah.
So I like what I've seen from him. And as far as the bullpen, definite advantage to the Marlins over the last 2 weeks. 3.51 ERA compared to 6.2 for the Nationals. So, I mean, we talk about it often. What's more important, pitching or hitting? I think we came to a conclusion pitching, and I would have to back Alcantara in this one.
All right, we move on now. Blue Jays hosting the Rays. Did the Blue Jays leave any any artillery in their bats after what they did over the weekend against the Baltimore Orioles pitching? 22 runs? To put it in perspective, the Toronto Blue Jays outscored the Chicago Bears yesterday. They outscored the Jacksonville Jaguars yesterday. I mean, we're talking about a baseball team outscoring multiple football teams in the NFL yesterday in terms of most biggest number scored. Obviously, you're talking runs in baseball, points in football. The bottom line is Toronto Blue Jays outscored several NFL teams yesterday, including the Buffalo Bills. How shocking is that? The Buffalo Bills juggernaut offense, and the Blue Jays score more than them yesterday. Just an incredible output by the Jays. Did they leave anything in the tank, though, for tonight? Back home against the Rays, Alek Manoah, Colin McHugh, the pitching matchup. Toronto minus 130, home favorites, 9 the total, shaded to the under. Certainly would be scared to death to bet a Toronto game under at the moment. But you know, Manoah has been solid, especially at Rogers Center. I think he's pitched some of his best games here at home this year. His numbers overall solid, 3.71 ERA overall. You look at him at home for the most part. He's been really good here in this ballpark. You know, against Tampa Bay, July 2nd, shut him out in 7 innings. At home against Kansas City, shut them out in 7 innings. Against Boston, 2 runs allowed in 5 innings. I'm talking about all his Rogers Center starts here in Toronto for Manoah. 1 run allowed against the White Sox at home for him. I mean, he had one kind of rough home start, and it was the Oakland game a couple of starts ago. 6 runs he allowed there. But other than that, he's been terrific here at Rogers Center. McHugh, this is a guy that knows how to pitch in terms of starting. He started many times before, spot starter out of the pen for the Rays. He did this with the Astros when Colin McHugh was there years ago. His numbers overall, not bad, but he's going to give way probably to Ryan Yarbrough, who's going to be the primary pitcher in this game. And Ryan Yarbrough on the road and a 4.9 ERA is not great by any stretch of the imagination. So they opened Toronto minus 160. I think at that price, there was some value on Tampa. Now that it's minus 130, I think now it's a situation where if you like Toronto, you're getting the best of the price now. Probably not a game I'm going to get involved with. I mean, Toronto's red hot. What can you say about the way they're playing right now? Tough team to go against, but this does kind of feel like a trappish kind of spot here for them, returning home off the Yankee series, the Baltimore series, scoring 44 runs in 3 games in the last 3 games of that Baltimore series. And now returning home, facing a Tampa Bay team that always gives them fits. It just doesn't feel like the right spot, the right timing to get with on the Jays tonight, but obviously they're playing great ball and they need the wins, but they have a tough time usually with Tampa. So I'm not going to get involved in the game tonight here. Connor, what do you think with the Rays and the Jays?
I am going to get involved. I think it's too big of a plus price for the Rays. Manoah's been good, but yeah, they just scored 22 runs like you talked about. Man, they scored a ton of runs against that shitty Orioles team on the weekend. I just think it's too big of a price. Yarbrough, like talked about, scares me a little bit. He's just been so bad on the road. And his last one in Boston, he gave up 7 runs. July 4th, in 2 starts, though, in the 10th, 1 at home, 1 on the road. He gave up 1 run and the other 2 runs to Toronto. But overall, on the road, he has not been good this year. So I worry about that. But I think the Rays are just the better team. The Blue Jays are fighting for the wild card at plus 117. Give me the Rays here. And yeah, nothing on the total. I'd be leery here. They scored 22 runs. I always love to think a game was going to go under after that. And it could be low scoring early with Manoah on the mound. McHugh.
Yeah, I mean, I always worry about that when you have the kind of offense they had against Baltimore and no day off, now back home. And look, I know Tampa Bay's bullpen hasn't been great lately. 5 ERA in the last 10 games for Tampa Bay's usually very good bullpen. So maybe they can keep the offense going. But even with Tampa Bay's bullpen being a little bit struggling a bit the last 10 games, it's still leaps and bounds ahead of Baltimore's bottom feeder bullpens. So, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, so it's a little bit tricky. I mean, it's not an automatic. The Blue Jays just score, a shit ton of runs again tonight, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 runs. Skee, what do you think here? Tampa, Toronto.
Yeah, I just look at Toronto, and I know that they've been winning a lot lately. I think 9 of their last 10 games, but they played the Orioles 4 times. They played the struggling Yankees 4 more times. I mean, that's 8 of the games right there. Yankees even lost to the Orioles too. They just haven't been playing good. And then I look at Manoah, 5.82 ERA over the last 3 starts. Just not in good form, in my opinion, for the starting pitcher. So I would lean towards the Rays. It does make me nervous the way that the bullpen has looked lately, like you mentioned, Ian, but I just think I'd rather take the plus price. It's really a fade of Manoah. Maybe I would go first 5, but I just don't like the way he's looked lately and wouldn't want to lay a price with him.
Yeah, it's definitely, and plus again, now he's at the point now where he's throwing a lot of innings, more than he, of course, at the major league level, taxing innings, and sometimes you worry about guys hitting a wall physically a little bit late in the year, and especially rookie pitchers at the big league level. Maybe that is what we're seeing here a little bit here with Alek Manoah, based on his recent starts. All right, we'll keep it going. Cardinals and Mets. Adam Wainwright and Dick Mountain, as Jose calls him. Rich Hill for the Mets. We got even money here on both sides. The total 7.5, 8 across the board. Dick Mountain's been solid for the New York Mets. Let's give him credit here. This old guy. I mean, he keeps on befuddling me because I don't think he's ever supposed to be this good, but he is this good. He's been terrific, to be honest. I mean, 1 run, 6 hits against the Marlins, shuts out the Nationals in 6 innings, 2 runs to the Nationals in 5 innings, 3 runs to a good Dodgers team in 5 innings. He's been good. When's the last time he's given up 4 runs or more? It was way back July 31st against the Reds. So Rich Hill has been absolutely outstanding, for the most part for the Mets. And the Mets are an interesting team here where they are going through these hot and cold streaks. And, the fact that they won 2 of 3 against the Yankees and they came back from a deficit to win last night, 3 home runs by Lindor, who seems like he's a man possessed all of a sudden since he had that little incident with the fans. All of a sudden he's playing, right? Yeah. Now, all of a sudden he's playing well, the last, week or so. Since the little incident with giving the fans the thumbs down. So baffling team, but the Mets are still alive. Believe it or not, they're like 3 games out of the wild card. They're not going to win the division because they're still like 4.5 back of the division. I don't think they're going to make up that ground, but they're like only 3.5 out of the wild card. They can still maybe get in, but they got to just keep winning. That's the only thing they can think about. Just win, baby. Like the late Al Davis said, that's all they can do right now at this point, the Cardinals. But they're going to have to do it against a Cardinals team that's sending Adam Wainwright onto the mound, who has been really, really strong for the better part of the last 2 months. Last start, a little bit more of a struggle, 4 runs, 7 hits, but he still, most of those that damage came late against the Dodgers. He was really shutting them down before that. So it's still been a great run for Adam Wainwright, and they've been winning with him on the mound. So St. Louis has been winning consistently with Wainwright on the mound. Rich Hill, Dick Mountain's pitched well consistently lately for the Mets. So it's a tough side for me to call in this one. I would prefer just to stay off here in this game. Maybe lean first 5 under. It's Cardinals trying to hang in there by a thread on the wild card race. Same with the Mets. Important game. Maybe you go first 5 under here with these 2 pitchers. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, shout out to the chat. Thanks for everyone being here. Hit the like button for us. We appreciate it. Retweet, ring the bell, all the fun shit here. I like that, the first 5 under. I like unders here at Citi Field. I wouldn't go the full game. The Cardinals bullpen is not very good. As you saw, Wainwright's last start, he had to go in the 9th, and I thought they left him in too long, but they ended up getting the win 5-4 over the Dodgers. Hill's been good at home here, so I like the first 5 under 4. I lean the Cardinals. Both pitchers have, Wainwright's been really good against this Mets lineup. And other than Goldschmidt, 10 for 20 with 2 homers, and Arenado, 2 right-handed huge power bats. He's 3 for 8 with a homer. No one else has hit Rich Hill for the Cardinals. So I lean Cardinals first 5, and I lean the first 5 under 4 here.
Yeah, I mean, they're 5 back of Atlanta for the division. They're not catching them, the Mets, but they're only 3 back of the wild card being held right now by the Padres. And of course, the Reds are right there with the Padres, and St. Louis is one game behind both the Padres and the Reds. So this is a huge game tonight for both of these teams. Huge series. Skee, what do you think here? Cardinals, Mets.
Can you just remind me the line, the money line?
Even money, pretty much, -110, both sides.
Okay. I mean, hearing you talk about Rich Hill for one, he has been good. But didn't he got traded, right, in the middle of the year? I feel like earlier in the year he was bad. And then as soon as he got to the Mets, he's like a whole different pitcher. So I guess we just have to roll with what we've been seeing lately. His last 3 starts, I think he's went 17 innings, 1.59 ERA. That's a guy I want to back there. Wainwright's been pretty good too, but I know he's better at home than on the road. So I think I give the edge to Rich Hill here in this one. And as far as bullpen numbers, don't really trust St. Louis, and I don't really want to get involved with the Mets either, even though the Mets have been decent. So I get where Conor's going. I probably can understand the first 5 under if I'm going to play this one. And if I'm going to pick a side, it would be behind Rich Hill over Wainwright on the road. But I did want to mention, like I told you guys earlier, I kind of been off of or not as heavy on baseball lately, but I did catch a glimpse of that Mets-Yankees game. It was a pretty chippy game, that game, right? Like I saw Stanton chirping at some guys, clearing the benches, and I saw Lindor kind of doing some things the other way. Can you guys give me like a quick summary? Like, what was that all about?
Well, it was there's some talk that there was some guy that got brushed back a little bit by one of the pitches, and that's kind of where the back and forth started. And but that's a good rivalry. It doesn't matter, Yankees and Mets, whether they're good teams or bad teams. There's going to be a little angst with those two teams, and you definitely saw that over the weekend. The one thing that's concerning about the Mets here too is it's that off the Sunday night game, and we talk about that. That's always a spot that bothers me. The good news is they don't have to travel. So that's why this is not as bad for the Mets tonight. No travel after playing the Yankees last night on Sunday Night Baseball. So it's the bottom line is I think there's cases you can make for both teams. It's a pick 'em. It's even money, both sides. It's a perfect game to pass, I think, because and both teams certainly you would think want to win badly to enhance their NL wildcard chances, no question. There were a lot of people, by the way. Someone in the chat mentioning Rob Bebenick from the NFL Pub Hub yesterday, like the Montgomery prop. So did I. I mean, I had over rushing and receiving yards with him yesterday, last night in that Sunday night football game. And I knew that the plan, everything that the Bears were saying is that they were going to feed Montgomery a lot. And that's exactly what they did. And good prop. All handshakes and high fives all the way around to everybody that was on that prop. It was a good, logical prop selection, no question. In that Sunday night game last night. All right, we'll move on now to Houston and Texas. We've got Jake Odorizzi and Spencer Howard. Houston -185, road favorites, 9 the total, shade pretty much across the board. Jake Odorizzi, who has been around the block, he's had injuries, he's not been able to stay with one team to the next. He's been more bad than good in recent years. But as of late for the Astros, not bad. 3 ERA in his last 3 starts. He's given up 2 runs or less in 4 straight starts coming into this game. So you got to like how he's pitched a little bit lately for the for the Astros. Texas has Spencer Howard on the mound. You can't really say you like him as much. He faced Seattle a couple starts ago, gave up 5 runs in 2 innings. He did shut out Arizona in a spot start. In his last appearance, 2 innings, September 7th, but that's Arizona. That's not Houston. He's not going to give you any sort of length. He's going to go 2 innings probably at the most, which has been the norm for Spencer Howard. And then you're going to see a lot of Texas bullpen after he leaves the game. I'm not so sure that's a great thing with the Rangers pen. Houston, this game to me should have a chance to go over the total, but we've seen a lot of countless examples where with Houston, sometimes they have that one big inning and they don't do a whole lot the rest of the game. But I'm certainly leaning over the total. I don't fully trust Odorizzi to keep this up the way he has in terms of recent form. And on the flip side, Spencer Howard and a lot of this Texas bullpen you're going to see after he departs the game, that's not something that I like exactly either. So I lean over. It's just a lukewarm opinion, though. Maybe a small bet, nothing strong. Conor Mac, what do you think? Houston, Texas.
Yeah, how about the Rangers? playing a little good baseball lately and winning some money for me too. And I hadn't touched them all freaking year.
Yep.
I had one yesterday too and hung on. I thought the A's would tie that up. I'd be on the Rangers, and the Rangers have played the Astros tough all year. I think they have
Especially
a
in
winning record.
Texas. Yep.
Yeah. So this is Rangers for me. Take a shot first 5, maybe go full game. The pen's been pretty good lately. Spencer Howard, though, that's I mean, you got to back him for a few innings, and he's horrible. But Odorizzi, against Texas, July 23rd, went 4 2/3, gave up 3. He just started August 27th, 5 innings, 6 hits, gave up 2. Rangers have been swinging a little bit lately. So, yeah, nothing on the total, but it'd be Rangers or pass here. Give me the dog.
Looks like A.J. Alexy is going to be the primary pitcher for Texas after Spencer Howard. So we'll see how he goes. He's going to be the primary pitcher tonight after Howard. And look, he's fared decently so far for Chris Woodward. When you look at it, so far, 2 turns, 11 scoreless innings, and a pair of wins. So it's not bad for Alexy. So if he's going to be the primary arm, there's some hope for Texas here, maybe in this game. No question about that. So definitely. At this price, I agree. There's enough reason maybe to sprinkle on Texas a little bit here. I don't like Spencer Howard starting the game. You just hope he doesn't bury this team in the first 2 innings, that, Houston doesn't put up a 3, 4, 5 runs in the first 2 innings and you're already buried if you're Texas. But if he can at least somewhat keep them in check a little bit, and then they turn it over to Alexy, and maybe he can pitch the way he has lately, then Texas is live potentially in this game here tonight. What do you think, Skee? Houston, Texas.
Yeah, I agree 100% with that breakdown. I only saw Spencer Howard initially early, and I thought I would want to try to fade him. I know he usually only goes a couple innings, like 2 or 3, but out of his last 3 starts, he went 2 innings in 2 of them, didn't give up anything, but in one of them he gave up 5. And I just don't trust him. So this is a game, if I'm not taking the Astros, if I'm betting pregame, it's going to be the Astros, just because I think Spencer Howard can give it up. And I look at Odorizzi, his last 3 starts, 15 innings, 3 ERA. I just think I trust him while Spencer Howard is out there. But when you come in and tell me that A.J. Alexy is coming in, and that guy's looked pretty damn good every time he's been out there, then it makes me kind of lean a little bit towards the other way, because I look at the bats. Both teams last 2 weeks versus righties, kind of even 11th and 12th. And when I look at the bullpen, Texas slightly better than Houston over the last 2 weeks. So I'll probably wait and play this one live. I probably would take either Astros to score first, or I would wait until Spencer Howard comes out. And if the game is still tie game, then I would be looking to back the Rangers.
Yeah, this is perfect time for maybe one of those, and not every book has this, but more of them now do. The first 3 innings, if you can get a first 3 innings bet on Houston, because that's all you're going to get from Howard is 2 innings, maybe 3 if you're lucky, and that's the time where maybe Houston has the edge, and then you get out, and then once Alexy comes in, you don't have to worry if you take Houston first 3 innings, which is -0.5 at even money. So that's definitely an option for you as well. Houston to have the lead after the first 3 innings, and then you only have to worry about fading Howard. He's going to be out by then. That's probably the best way to go, I think, if you like Houston. Very early, even less than first 5. I wouldn't even go first 5 on Houston. I'd go first 3. I'd try to get it to as much to the early part of the game as possible. Yeah, BetMGM. BetMGM is great for that. The first 3 innings. If you obviously Skee and Conor are in Las Vegas, they'll have access to BetMGM app. They offer first 3 inning lines for MLB, which is really good, because that's sometimes where you get even greater edges than just say the first 5, especially when first turn, second turn through the rotation is all these guys can pull off at the moment. All right, great stuff. We've got the 7th inning stretch coming up here already, because we've got basically 3 West Coast games left to break down. We shout out everybody in the chat right now. Yeah, in terms of hockey, we'll see what's going to go on. We're going to start actually talking about that. I know I've already got my commitment to do the Ice Guys on the other platform, but we're going to try to get some kind of Pub Sports Radio NHL content this year. And as far as the NBA Pub Hub goes, I think we'll be bringing that back, because, look, NBA is going to be here in a month or so, and it was very popular. We had a good crew, great camaraderie, good cast there on the NBA Pub Hub. So we're going to probably try to reignite that show in some form throughout the NBA season here on this channel. So we're looking forward to that. Pub Hub was a lot of fun last year during the NBA season. It's coming up. It's probably going to end up replacing MLB daily on this channel, because MLB is going to be pretty much done by then. It'll be late in the playoffs, and that's when NBA swoops in, and maybe it'll take over this time slot, because 4 p.m. Eastern is when we always did it, right? Last year, NBA Pub Hub. So very possible that's what we end up getting this season. Looking forward to NBA. You're right. It's a month away. It's going to be here before you know it. Alex Johnson, Michael Robertson, Cheshire Cat, Evan L., Damon Santore, Anthony Greer, Turnsey, DX Filer, Ixnizzle 420, Benjamin Mills, Michael Robertson. Yeah, Mondays are a busy day for us. Not that we never rest. It's just Mondays we have 2 shows. That's why it feels like it. We never rest on Mondays. Yeah. Zachary, Steve's book, Zach Wilson for MVP. Appreciate everybody in the chat here. Josh P. Kosh, Eric Chang, Deacon Mike, Crystal Warren, Alex Johnson, Robert Cherry, Craig Wood, Brian Watson. Good stuff. Welcome in, everybody. So good stuff here with the chat. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Hit the like button. Make sure you do that if you haven't already. Is it a manic Monday, says Krista Warren? It might be. Yeah, a little Bangles. Yeah, just another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. That's my fun day, where I don't have to run day. There you go.
We're taking Ian to karaoke, Connor.
Oh, yeah.
Get him out here.
I know. I'm just making sure I get everybody excited about Ian's karaoke night in Las Vegas the next time, whenever it is, the next time I end up in Las Vegas, which will happen. So we're looking forward to that. Good stuff. All right. Move on now. It's going to be fun. Wait till they get the rap, and especially if it's a rap hit that I know the lyrics back and forth, front to back. It's going to be absolutely insane. We're going to throw it down. 100%. I'm looking forward to that. You're going to be impressed with the pitch, the tone, the spit, the lyrics. No shortage of breath or anything. Can just rip right through it for 3-4 minutes straight. Yeah, I don't want to toot my own horn here with the rap karaoke, but you'll enjoy it. I'll put out a show. Yeah, toot. Yeah, exactly. Now watch me. I'm going to pass out and end up going to the hospital or some shit when I do it there. So that we don't want. All right, let's go. San Diego and San Francisco. As we move on, enough of the shenanigans here. Darvish, and we've got Dominic Leone for the San Francisco Giants. We've got even money here, both sides, the total 8 across the board in this one. I don't know if I'm ready to buy into Darvish just yet. I mean, we're talking about a guy, I know he pitched a little bit better in his last start for the Padres, but we're talking about someone that's had a rough second half of the year. His 1 run allowed to the Angels, really a sign of a turnaround. It's his first good start in what feels like forever. I'm not so sure about that. He actually has pitched well against San Francisco this year, so he does have that going for him. He's given up 2 runs in 12.1 innings over a pair of starts, both of them San Diego wins against San Francisco. So we'll see if he can keep that up here. Dominic Leone is going to be a spot starter here. He's pitched 3 scoreless innings in a spot start role for the Giants going into this game. The Giants trying to maintain first place. It's going to be Jose Quintana, the primary pitcher after that. That's the only thing that really bothers me here. He's just not very good. 6.22 ERA. That being said, from a value standpoint, it's definitely on San Francisco here. I mean, this erratic Padres bunch, I know they need the wins desperately as they try to hang on to a wild card spot, but at this price, I can only look San Francisco. It's just, one of the best teams in baseball, a great home record, an inconsistent opponent, and you only have to lay -110 with San Francisco. So to me, it's Giants or pass. I can't say I love it because of the fact we're going to see a lot of Jose Quintana, a below average lefty for the Giants here, but the price is just very, very much, in my opinion, the value has to be a little bit towards San Francisco here. I mean, at this number, with how they've played all year and people waiting for them to regress, and it's just never happened. So I lean Giants here. What do you think, Conor Mac?
Yeah, I think there's a little value on the Giants. We'll see with Darvish. Is he really back after that 1 start? With Quintana in, as the primary, it scares me a little bit. But one thing, the Padres have struggled. That Dodger series was pretty ugly. The bats were we're cold here. So I think there's value with the Giants too. Darvish has gotten hit, even though he's been good against the Giants this year. I even look to maybe over 8 in this game because we're going to see Quintana. But also, I was looking at the Giants team total at 3.5, minus 120, 125. I think could be some value if you like that here. So yeah, Giants for me, team total, or just take them straight in this game. I think there's value with them.
Yeah, I'd lean the over for the game might get there. It's 8. Darvish has a 6.41 ERA since like mid-July. 1 point, it's not good. His road ERA, we mentioned that 5.4 ERA for you, Darvish, on the road. Like I said, his ERA is a mid-6 ERA since the month of July. I mean, you can't be impressed. I'm sorry, but I'm not buying into one good start against the Angels in his last outing as, wow, Yu Darvish is back, baby. Yeah, I can feel confident with that. No, I need to see it more. And look, all the Giants at home with that lineup compared to the Angels, no, this is going to be a tougher challenge, tougher outing here for you, Darvish. Let's see what he does here. I'm not ready to just say, hey, finally had a good start. He's going to turn the ship around. No, not when you've been as poor as he's been overall since July and on the road with that 5 ERA on the road pretty much all year. So I lean over the total too, because I could see San Diego scoring a little bit against Quintana. Quintana's just hard to trust with a 6 ERA himself, and you'll see a lot of him after Leone leaves the game. Skee Profit, what do you think here with the Padres and Giants?
Yeah, I say what up to Drew Martin. I saw him in the chat, and there was another comment. I have to scroll a little bit farther up. It might have been Chad. I think it was. It made me laugh. If you saw me laughing the whole time here, that's what it was. He says, I just imagine Skee playing the Southtown Ad music in his spare time or something like that, like on the immaculate piano in the background. So that made me laugh. For this game, I want to back the Giants, but Quintana, he's the wrench thrown into this game for me. Like, if you tell me I get Leone and then I just get some other guys from the bullpen, I'll be confident backing the Giants here. But I want no parts of him. When I look at Darvish, like you guys mentioned, I'm not sold on him. He's been looking pretty bad. And over his last 3 games, still 6.14 ERA. You talked about how he is on the road. You want to talk about how both teams' bats have been the last 2 weeks. Versus righties, weighted runs created plus, you have the Giants at 3rd. You have the Padres at 18th. And you definitely have a bullpen advantage for the Giants here. They're probably, I think they're maybe like top 3 or top 4, something like that over the last 2 weeks, compared to 4.55 for the Padres. So now that I know that Quintana is going to be coming in and pitching a good portion of the game, I have to agree with what Connor said. I mean, the Giants, they've scored like 5, I think it's either 5 or 6 runs their last 7 games, and you're only asking them to get 3.5 here. I think that's very doable versus the Padres bullpen that hasn't been good, and Darvish who's been getting touched. So that's my best bet in this game. Giants team total over 3.5.
Yeah, and only minus 125 to minus 130 on a 3.5 team total, which is not bad whatsoever, no question. Boston and Seattle. Next up, we've got Eduardo Rodriguez for the Red Sox, Logan Gilbert for the Mariners. Boston minus 120 road favorites in Seattle, 7.5 the total in this game. I wouldn't argue with what Razor's talking about. He's talking about Seattle as a home dog. I'm not laying a price with Boston on the road in this spot. They're traveling after playing in Chicago this weekend. That's number one. They're off a crushing, heartbreaking, gut-wrenching loss yesterday. Walked off in the 9th inning by a Lurie Garcia home run for the White Sox. They lose 2-1, and now they got to travel. They're still ravaged by COVID, and injuries. And now JD Martinez has got that wonky fucking back of his again. And he's missed the last 3 games with it and may not be back in the game tonight. And you've got, again, littered still with absences because of the COVID-19 situation. Duran, Jaron Duran still out. Sawamura in the bullpen is still out. Arroyo's out. Matt Barnes in the bullpen is out. Chris Sale has got that COVID-19 situation now as well. It's just Danny Santana. Just a lot of issues right now for Boston. They're not playing great baseball either. Inconsistent. Just 2-5 in their last 7 games entering this series. Seattle's not exactly a model of consistency right now either. They lost 2 of 3 at home to Arizona over the weekend. That's a bit of a bad look. This team, by the way, they've been hitting, but their pitching has kind of imploded. I mean, they've really had trouble in terms of their pitching of late. 5 runs, 7 runs, 5 runs. They've been giving up a lot of runs lately, this Seattle pitching staff. And the bullpen for Seattle in the last 10 games has been a little bit suspect as well. Logan Gilbert, we talk about this guy all the time, how much potential there is. He's got a live arm. He knows he can basically change speeds, throw to both sides of the plate, keep hitters off balance. But he is still struggling to find consistency at the major league level. He's had some great runs where he's been red hot, and then he's had those runs where he's been hit hard repeatedly. But now he's on the good side of the streak again. The last 2 starts have been much better for Logan Gilbert. He's given up a grand total of just 2 runs over his last 9.1 innings, and he faced the Houston Astros in both of those games. Pretty good lineup. So all of a sudden, he's turned it around again, Logan Gilbert. And the thing that's in his favor here is that he has not faced the Boston Red Sox before. So it's a bit of a new thing facing Boston or facing this lineup for facing Logan Gilbert, I should say, for this Boston lineup. Eduardo, I'm not ready to buy into Eduardo still. I know he pitched a little bit better for a period of time there, but the last outing against Tampa, 6 runs, 8 hits, 3.2 innings. He faced Seattle earlier this year in Boston, pitched relatively well. But I will caution you, the last time he pitched in Seattle, he gave up 6 runs, 4.1 innings a couple of years ago. That's the last time he pitched here in this ballpark. It wasn't good. So bottom line is it's Seattle or pass for me. I would only look toward the home underdog in this game at the Mariners. Maybe lean over too, because Seattle's gone over in like 8 or 9 straight. And these teams that go over the total every single game, I either ride the streak or I don't bet it. And with Seattle now going over the total in 9 straight games, 9-0 to the over they are coming into tonight, I would look over this total as well with Seattle as a home dog. Conor Mac, what do you think? Red Sox, Mariners.
Yeah, I like the Mariners. They lost to the D-backs yesterday, 5-4. I like Gilbert. He hasn't faced the Red Sox. Red Sox coming in here with Rodriguez as a favorite. That's just, I can't do it. Mariners don't have a great average. They strike out a ton. But they've hit lefties okay all year, and they definitely have a winning record against them. So I like the Mariners as well. Give me them full game. Nothing on the total. I mean that there's been runs. There's been runs lately, but I'll just take the Mariners plus 107 here.
Yeah, and by the way, the thing that concerns me is Logan Gilbert's pitched well. You'd think, why would you want the over? But he's not going to go more than 4 or 5 innings. That's about what he's been doing, for the last several starts. You're going to see a lot of Mariners bullpen, and that's where they've had their issues. That bullpen's been hemorrhaging and giving up runs late in games. So that's why this – and if you don't like the pregame over, you can always bet a live over maybe after Logan Gilbert exits the game. Skee, what do you think here? Boston, Seattle.
Yeah, you guys made a lot of great points, so I'm not going to bother repeating, but just put numbers to what you said over the last 2 weeks. The Mariners bullpen, 7.85 ERA, and that just makes me extremely nervous. And I hardly ever want to look to do something like this. Our good friend, I think Jimmy the Bag says this all the time, but he doesn't like turning dogs into favorites. But the nervousness from their bullpen maybe makes me want to do it a little bit more. So Boston, 6 of their last 8 games, I think, have been 1-run games. And I look at Seattle as a home dog. They're 31-13 on the run line. So I'm thinking if you can get that plus 1.5, it is a little bit juicy, minus 140, but it sounds like a winner to me.
All right, final game of this Monday card, Arizona Diamondbacks, LA Dodgers, Zach Gallen and Clayton Kershaw. The matchup here, Dodgers minus 290, home favorites, 8 the total across the board. Buyer beware here. If you think for a minute that I'm laying minus 290 with Clayton Kershaw coming off the injured list for his first start after 2 months with inflammation, and by the way, is throwing that elbow. That's also the elbow that he's, his lefty. It was his left elbow where he had the inflammation. If you think I'm going to lay minus 290 with a guy in this spot, no, it's not happening. I can't do it. Like, I know he's had a pretty solid year overall before the injury. He was pitching pretty well for the Dodgers, 3.39 ERA. But when you've been off this long, you haven't started in 2 months' time. I can't do it here. Lay this kind of number with Clayton Kershaw. July 3rd is the last time we saw him, where he exited the game against the Nationals after giving up 3 runs in 4 innings of work. The good news is he's dominated Arizona. 4 starts, for Arizona since the beginning of last year. 4 starts against Arizona for Clayton Kershaw. Dodgers won all 4 games, 4-0 in those games. But I'm still treading lightly. And he's given up, by the way, 6 runs over a span of 22.2 innings. 6 runs in 22.2 innings for Kershaw in his last 4 starts against Arizona. So he has done well against this lineup recently. Zach Gallen on the other side for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's actually pitched relatively decent the last 4 starts going back to August 21st. 3 runs or less in all 4 starts. Unfortunately, 1-3 for Arizona in those 4 games. They just haven't been able to find a way to win, largely because the bullpen has had their issues. He faced the Dodgers once this year, July 30th. Zach Gallen, 2 runs, 5 hits, and 6 innings, and Arizona won that game 6-5 back on July 30th. So I don't want to say for sure bet Arizona, but if you want to, I just don't want to step in front of the Dodgers right now. They're playing good ball. They swept the Padres in dominant fashion over the weekend, and obviously they're still trying to catch the Giants. It's not going to be easy at this point, but I don't think they've given up completely on catching the Giants in the NL West. So they're playing well. I don't love going against them, but there's no way I'm laying minus 290 with Kershaw. I think you either put a couple bucks on Arizona, see what happens. Just take your shot that maybe Kershaw is rusty. Kershaw's not feeling it. Kershaw's not fully in sync. First start with the left elbow having that inflammation, and that's obviously his throwing elbow. That maybe that's going to be an issue in his first start back. You take a shot with Arizona. Otherwise, you leave the game alone. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. Conor Mac, what do you think? Arizona, LA Dodgers.
Yeah, Rem Most. He did have a start down there in Albuquerque. He went 3 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and gave up a homer. Kershaw did. Yeah, there's no way. The only problem with me, the D-backs bullpen, they held on yesterday. They've been scoring runs, and we know the D-backs hit lefties well. So I'm not going to go full game. And it's a big discount of, 255. First 5 is only 200. But I'll take a shot first 5. The way the D-backs hit lefties. There's a few guys. Christian Walker's 7 for 19 with 4 homers. Jack of the day off Kershaw here. He could go yard. But, yeah, D-backs here. Give me a first 5 plus 200.
Yeah, Kikuchi, by the way, they faced him yesterday for Seattle, and they had a decent run of it, this Arizona team, against him yesterday. And, of course, Kikuchi struggling a little bit. We'll see if they can keep it going here. But you're right, against lefties for the overall year, they haven't been that bad, Arizona, against lefty pitching. What do you think here, Skee Profit, Diamondbacks, Dodgers?
I get nervous or thinking about backing Kershaw. I just don't think he's been as good as – I don't even know what to say, as he should be or as I remember or whatever the case is. It just makes me nervous to back Kershaw. I do trust Dodgers bullpen over D-backs bullpen for sure. But Gallen's looked pretty good lately. His last 17 innings, he has ERA close to 3. Neither team really hitting the last 2 weeks. I have Dodgers as 28th versus righties, D-backs 23rd versus lefties. But the only way I can think to play this game would have to be, I trust Gallen to have a solid start. Kershaw is the iffy one, and I trust the Dodgers bullpen to be solid on the second half of the game. So I lean under here, and if I'm going to play a side, I'll be backing Gallen and the D-backs on the first 5.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. And that's the baseball card, but we're not done yet. We'll get to best bets for baseball and Jack of the Day in just a sec. But we do have we've got Monday Night Football to talk about just for a second. It's the Baltimore Ravens and the Las Vegas Raiders. We've got Baltimore 4-point road favorites. The total 50 and a half, depending on where you look right now. Of course, we'll change the background. There we go. We'll get our football background there right now. When you look at it, this game's, I'll say right now, I have nothing at all on the side. I don't have a strong opinion on the side for this game at all. Here's the reasons to like Las Vegas. Home dog. The crowd's going to be amped. Apparently, that will be a raucous environment. This is the first time we've had a full sellout, full capacity stadium for Las Vegas since they moved there beginning of last year. That's going to help the Raiders out. Second of all, Baltimore's beaten up to shit right now already with injuries. The running back core goes without saying. Hill, Dobbins, Gus the Polar Bear, Edwards, they're all out. They've had to sign guys off the street, essentially, to be running backs, washed up guys that were free agents that didn't have a contract. That's where we're at with Baltimore's running back group now. Marcus Peters suffers an injury in training camp. They're suffering there with a ton of key injuries. Those are all reasons to like Las Vegas. Here's the reason to like Baltimore, though, and that's why I can't pull the trigger on Las Vegas here. John Harbaugh in week 1. You go back and look. Last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, Baltimore and John Harbaugh in week 1. They don't just win games. They pulverize teams. They pulverize opponents. And they're always ready to play and well prepared going into week 1. That's been a status quo for the Baltimore Ravens in recent years. It's the kind of track record I don't feel comfortable betting against. Even with the injuries right now for the Baltimore Ravens, they still have a talented, dynamic quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Not so much throwing the ball, but running it, which I'm sure he'll do a lot tonight. But I think Baltimore's still going to run the ball a lot. I don't trust this receiving core for the Ravens. Marquise Brown, banged up Sammy Watkins all the time. I like Mark Andrews a lot, but it's more of a dink and dunk offense and a run-heavy offense. On the Las Vegas side, you've got Derek Carr at quarterback for the Raiders, but the offensive line, which was so good last year, I don't think it's anywhere close to as good on paper going into this year. They lost 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen from last year, this Raiders team. I think it's going to be an adjustment. Derek Carr needs a good offensive line to be successful. I don't think he has that this year. There's 3 Pro Bowl O-linemen gone from this Raiders team, including Trent Brown. They've got Gabe Jackson gone as well. They got to fill those holes. At that O-line's totally reshuffled, and teams with an O-line continuity issues going into the year, they're not teams I look at being teams that are going to light up the scoreboard in their first game. I don't think the Raiders will against this Baltimore defense with O-line issues. But on the flip side, I think the Raiders defense, which was so bad, you remember how bad they were last year. The Raiders defense was a sieve. They couldn't stop anybody. I do think they'll be a little bit better this year on that side of the ball. They made some improvements on personnel-wise on defense. It's going to be a question about will they show up initially. I think last year, Las Vegas was the ultimate over team with their game totals. All offense, no defense. But they're pricing this total like it's last year's Las Vegas team. And I don't think it is. I think their O-line is much worse. I think their defense could be a little bit better. I think this is an under. As far as the total goes, I would go under 50.5 in this game. I think it'll be a little bit lower scoring. I like that more than either side. As far as props go, give me Lamar Jackson over rushing yards. He's going to be running the ball a lot, especially with the running back injuries. Lamar, if you want to lay I don't usually advocate laying a price with a touchdown prop, but Lamar to score a touchdown, I think, is almost automatic tonight. Vegas was awful last year, surrendering rushing touchdowns to quarterbacks. To dual threat quarterbacks. That could be a little bit of a issue here, and Lamar is good enough to score in this one. And Mark Andrews, I like his over receiving yards because that's been Lamar Jackson's favorite target, the tight end who just got paid from Baltimore, and also Mark Andrews anytime touchdown score prop as well. So that's what I like. Andrews and Lamar score props for touchdowns, and I like Lamar over rushing yards, Mark Andrews over receiving yards, and I like the under a little bit. In this game. I just think it's a little too tall, this total at 50.5. I think it'll be 28 to 20, something like it'll be close, but I think it'll be like mid 40s, high 40s in terms of points scored in this game. Connor, we'll start with you. Monday Night Football. What do you like?
Yeah, this one's interesting. I mean, it should be the first game there with fans. The place should be, rocking there, crazy. Initially I like the Ravens. But for me, I just think the game will be close. The Raiders' defense does suck. And that offensive line with Jackson gone, that scares the shit out of me. And Derek Carr always seems they just can't win a game. So that's what the only thing. But I think they're in this game. The injuries to the Ravens, I think, bothers them a little bit. I just think it's close. So if I had to be, I got to take the points if I were to take it. I know the Ravens have come out good, and Lamar Jackson, Skee, I think you talked about, how he can't throw. I still don't trust him, even with the Raiders' sorry defense. They really just need to clamp down on the Ravens' running game. So, and nothing on the total. Yeah, they were crazy over team, but the Ravens run the shit out of the ball, milk the clock. So yeah, I'd lean under maybe a tad bit in that spot, but yeah, I'd still have to take the Raiders in the points. I think that's just too many still. It'd have to be under. I want the Ravens 3 or less, and I kind of lean Ravens, but you got 4.5. I think the game will be close. The Raiders probably lose a field goal in the end, knowing the Raiders. They'll lose by a late field goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is definitely just a little bit lower scoring. And it's not just that the Raiders, Conor Mac, that they lost 3 offensive line starters. They were 3 Pro Bowl offensive line starters. Like, they were really good. Brown, Jackson. I mean, those were good players along that O-line that they lost. And there could be some continuity issues against. And look, Baltimore's got Calais Campbell healthy again on the defensive line. Derek Wolfe, Brandon Williams, Broderick Washington. I like that Baltimore defensive front linebacking core. If Patrick Queen plays better, he's going to be good. Justin Houston, they brought him in the offseason. Malik Harrison, the DBs, Jimmy Smith and Marlon Humphrey. That's a good secondary combination for Baltimore. So I think it's just a little bit lower scoring. Skee, how do you see this one, Ravens and Raiders?
Before I forget, I saw you, Razor. You got your nerve, bro. Your team can't even score a touchdown, and you're going to do some talking.
Yeah, Razor got humbled with his Packers. They were the cheese yesterday. They were the cheese, as in Swiss cheese. That's how bad it was for them.
Yeah. And then there was one more comment. I think it was Crystal, but she said she's been rewatching The Wire, and we need to start calling them Baltimore. And The Wire is a great show. So
great show. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad people are reminding how good it's too bad Michael K. Williams, the great actor on that show, had to pass away for people to remember how great that show was. But he did an incredible job on that show. One of the best characters I thought he played as well on that show. But yes, one of the best TV shows of all time. I don't think that's not at all a stretch to say that.
Definitely, I would agree. And then for this game here, first I'll say on the total, I talked to a few people, and they're saying that the Raiders picked up some players defensively, and that they're just supposed to be better on that side. But I don't know. I mean, I said this before, and I mean, it just what comes to mind. Like when I think about taking the Raiders under, I get disgusted. It makes me throw up in my mouth. Like the Raiders defense was terrible. I don't know how I can expect them to hold anybody down. I'm gonna have to see it to believe it. So I'll be off of the total on this one. For the side, I kind of been going back and forth all day. And initially, my first thought was, earlier before all of the games were played, before these injuries, I want to take the Ravens. And like you said, Ian, they've been good in week ones for as far as I can remember. And a lot of the reason why I think is because they take the preseason serious. So their players are ready. They're not like some of these other teams who come in and don't have cohesion or are just not in rhythm. So I still think that they did that, even though they're going to be missing Gus Edwards. They're going to be missing Dobbins. I still think that they're the better team. I still think that they're more in rhythm right now because they took the preseason serious. So I do want to try to back the Ravens here. The only reasons I could think to pick the Raiders would be because, if you think the 2 running backs are going to be a big deal, or they're just going to feed off of the environment with everybody there for their first home game with fans, etc. But as far as X's and O's, I don't know if I really see the Raiders winning this game. And you talk about them missing some offensive line guys. You mentioned Calais Campbell, like he's a monster. He's going to be causing havoc in there. And that's probably going to be, if it stays under, it's going to be because the Raiders offense can't do anything because of that O-line, in my opinion. So I think if I have to make a play, and I kind of changed up from what I said earlier on my other show, but I probably would pick the Ravens now. I know a lot of people are going to go and back the Raiders, and I think the Ravens are the better team. So
do you need the 3, Skee? Or would you lay it with 3.5?
Right now, because it looks 3.5.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would take that. I would probably feel better if I had a 3, and then I could honestly just take them to win money line at probably minus 150. But it's hard for me to get there with the Raiders.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I see for, like, again, we got to see the Raiders defense play well because it was awful last year. But here's what I see. I see bringing in Solomon Thomas from the Niners, who's obviously he was a great player 2 years ago. Last year he got injured, torn ACL in week 2. And because of the serious injury, 49ers said, we're not going to pay you when your contract expires. So Vegas is taking a chance on a guy coming off a torn ACL. But if he's back to health and he plays like he did 2 years ago for San Fran, that's a good player. Solomon Thomas, the defensive tackle, and that'll be a big addition for the Raiders. The other big addition to the defense, especially up front, a guy that played for the Ravens last year, Yannick Ngakoue. He's a really good defensive end, and he's going to be on the Raiders this year. Give him a pass rush, which they didn't have last year. That's going to be an improved defense, I think, on paper, this D-line. Casey Hayward kind of struggled last year with the Chargers. They signed him at the cornerback spot in the offseason. He still can be a good player if we get the Casey Hayward of 2 years ago. Will we is the question. But I think it's worth the shot because you got to try to fix the pass defense. It was terrible last year if you're Mike Mayock, John Gruden, and the Raiders. So I think there's pieces, there's personnel that points to improved defense for Las Vegas. But to Skee's point, we still maybe kind of want to see it first before we buy into it. So that's going to be the big question. Is this Raiders defense improved? I think on paper they look improved. But again, they don't play the games on paper. They play them on the football field. So we're going to end up seeing if that is indeed the case right there. And to Skee's point about liking Baltimore, here again is why I'm not going against Baltimore tonight. Last year, week 1, for the Baltimore Ravens, I'm going to bring out their recent track record. Here we go. Last year, week 1, 38-6 victory against Cleveland, a 7-point favorites in that game. The year before that, week 1. For the Baltimore Ravens, Miami 59-10 in that game in week 1. You want to go back further under John Harbaugh in week 1? Be my guest. The year before that, Buffalo week 1, 47-3 for Baltimore. I mean, not just winning in week 1, not just being ready to play, beating up teams, crushing teams, annihilating them. I'm not going to say that's going to happen tonight, but John Harbaugh's track record of having his team ready to play in week 1 the last 4 or 5 years is so strong that there is no way I'm going against that. None. No way. Even with the injuries, no way. It's that strong. I mean, a coach that's clearly got his team ready for the first game of the regular season, hard to go against that. It just, in my opinion, it is.
I forgot to mention one thing else for the Raiders too. Just, I was looking it up too. I said off the top of my head earlier, maybe not on this show, but something else I did, but the Raiders always seem to play good on Monday for whatever reason. And I went back, I think they're 6-0 or 6-1, something like that on Monday. So I feel like the Raiders, maybe that's a trend that you care about.
I can keep going. I would be here all night. 2018, you want to go back another year? Baltimore in week 1, Cincinnati at Cincinnati, 20-0 win. I mean, it is remarkable.
Saying take the Ravens in. That's what you're saying, right?
2017. Against Buffalo again in week 1. Not that impressive compared to the others, but still a win and cover, 13-7 in week. So that is a startling track record of success in week 1 for the Baltimore Ravens under John Harbaugh.
You know what stands out to me too about what you said? The defense is holding, like, the highest, was it 10 points was the most the opponent scored? And they went over that game only because Baltimore scored 59. But it seems like the defense comes ready to play every single start of the year.
2017, that game under week 1 for Baltimore. 2018, that week 1 game for Baltimore under. 2019 against Buffalo, it went over, but 47-3. They needed 47 points for that game to go over. And the total was only 39 in that game, not 50.5 like it is tonight. And then last year, Miami. Again, 59-10, that went over. But again, they scored 59, and they scored 47 the year before that. So I don't know if they're getting to that number tonight against this Las Vegas team, even with their defensive
concerns. That happens tonight.
But
Vegas fans will be disappointed as hell in that new stadium. Woo!
Could you imagine that?
Man, reading that
Welcome
shit
to
off
Las Vegas, Raiders. Welcome back, fans. 59-10 ass kicking coming up.
I don't. I'm glad I'm not going to the game. Shit.
Oh, man. That's going to be an interesting game, though. Very interested. By the way, I'm going to put up a poll on Twitter at Bobano after the show because I'm interested. What are you watching tonight? Which broadcast are you watching? ESPN with Steve Levy, Brian Greasy, and Louis Riddick, the Monday Night Football crew? Or are you going to watch Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, the Manning brothers, and their broadcast on ESPN2? Which one are you tuning into? I bet I think Peyton and Eli are going to win that poll. I think it's just just have that feeling.
Hey, are there certain guys that that you actually really like to listen to on those broadcasts?
Yes, there are. I find there's a few really good, colored guys, play-by-play guys. I think Joe Buck's gotten better actually over the years. He gets excited now. That never happened before. He's improved. Nance has also stepped it up a little. He gets into it more. Chris Collinsworth's probably Aikman's all right. Romo, I know a lot is good, but sometimes he can get on your nerves a little bit at times. I think Chris Collinsworth gets bashed left and right. I think he's all right. Chris Collinsworth, he's good. Nothing wrong with him. So there's definitely some you like, some you don't like. Kevin Harlan, play-by-play, football, basketball. That guy can do anything and do it so well. Kevin Harlan, he's just incredible as far as I'm concerned. So
football is probably better than basketball.
Yeah, he's good. He's good at basketball with drops the anvil and with a flamethrower, and he's got that. There's the dagger.
No, I just meant in general, the guys that talk about basketball are probably not as good as the guys that talk about football.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. There's Andrew McGinnis and Drew Martin in the chat. What's going on here? We got new faces popping up in the chat today for the show today. But welcome in, guys. And thanks to everybody for tuning in. We're going to wrap it up now in a couple minutes. Thanks to everyone, 158 live viewers. Hit the like button. Make sure you do that if you haven't already. We will get to our MLB best bets and Jack of the Day in just a second. But first, we'll pause for messages from both Manscaped and Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, great drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke. Everybody's anxious for Ian karaoke to happen. It will next time I'm in Las Vegas. It probably will if I ever make it to Southtown 101 as well down the road. So make sure you stop in there. Manscaped, promo code PubSports, 20% off your purchase using the promo code PubSports, Lawnmower 4.0, and any other Manscaped products there. Lawnmower 4.0 and any Manscaped product get 20% off with promo code PubSports. And mybookie.ag, promo code PubSports. Football's here. NBA, NHL, hockey, and hoops coming up next month. No better time than now. Sign up for an account at mybookie.ag. Bitcoin accepted currency for your deposit. mybookie.ag, promo code PubSports. All right, we'll get to best bets in just a second, but first, time for Jack of the Day.
Well, see you later.
All right, a Jack of the Day. It's a very, very small MLB slate tonight, so there's not a lot of great home run props to choose from necessarily, but I am looking toward a couple here tonight on the board. I'm definitely interested in both Goldschmidt and Arenado for the Cardinals against Hill's been pitching well, but he's given up home runs to both of them. So I would look at them in terms of a home run prop. Same with Mike Yastrzemski, Brandon Crawford against Yu Darvish. They've both gone yard against him in the past. So not a bad way to go here in this one. And with Clayton Kershaw off the injured list, he might be susceptible to the odd home run tonight. And Christian Walker, again, make sure he's in the lineup, but Christian Walker for the Arizona Diamondbacks, how about 7 for 19, 368 average, and 4 home runs against Clayton Kershaw? Marte's hit a home run against him. But Christian Walker, definitely stands out for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Maybe someone to consider for Jack of the Day against, Clayton Kershaw that's coming off the injured list and hasn't pitched in 2 months. So make sure you keep that in mind. Conor Mac, any Jack of the Day props tonight?
Yeah, we talked Walker. He's plus 450. You got to take something on him. You mentioned Marte, but I'm going to go the last just couple is to the Mariners. Off a lefty. These two guys, they're still a nice price. I think a Haniger plus 450 and Ty France plus 550. I think one of those guys could go yard. That's it. Short card.
Yeah, Christian Walker's not at all hitting right now. That's the only concern. He's 125 batting average this month. That's terrible, but he has hit 4 home runs in the past against Clayton Kershaw. All right, Skee, if you're passing on home run props, let us know what you like for a best bet tonight.
Yeah, I don't really have a home run prop. I think you guys are on the right track though, because as far as the pitchers that I've looked at, their last 3 starts today, Kershaw and Rodriguez have given up the most home runs, and it seems like that's who you guys are attacking. So seems pretty good. Best bet for me, I had 3 plays that I really liked today. One of them already went off. And Ian, you can probably be a little bit happy now that you didn't take the Twins because Yankees have tied it up.
I know. I'm going to say, wow, blessing in disguise that I forgot it was an afternoon game potentially. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was actually going to use that game or talk about that game, but I'll use 2 games today since I can't use that one. And my 2 other ones that are the best to me, probably equal, are going to be Giants team total over 3.5. Like I said earlier, they've gotten, I think, 6 or more or 5 or more of their last 7 games. So first, Darvish in the bullpen. I like that. And secondly, it would be Seattle plus the 1.5. Nervous about the bullpen, but Boston's been playing a lot of 1-run games, and Seattle, like I said, 31-13 on the run line as a home dog.
Yeah, not a bad price. So there you go. Giants team total over 3.5, and Seattle run line plus 1.5, which is minus 145. So it's not a bad price to lay with that for plus 1.5 runs on the Mariners. So that's what Skee is looking at for a best bet. Conor Mac, best bet. What do you got?
I like the Mariners, but I'll go somewhere else. I go full game with them, plus 106. Give me the Rays, plus 117. I'm just big plus price. I think they're the better team, so I'll take them to win, plus 117. Rays.
All right, there you go. A Tampa Bay Rays plus 117, a best bet for Conor Mac against the Toronto Blue Jays. My best bet is going to be, it's a small card, don't love anything. I'm going to go San Diego, San Francisco over 8. I just think that full game total can get there. Quintana, I don't trust him for the Giants, so I think the Padres can score a bit. And I think the Giants certainly I'm not buying you Darvish after just one good start. I lean San Francisco. I have a bet on San Francisco. I will have one in San Francisco as well at this price, but I like the total even more. Let's go over 8. San Diego, San Francisco. That is going to be my best bet for this Monday MLB card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the MLB Closing Time Show. A hell of a day on the channel. Make sure you watch the Hitting the Books football show. If you missed it earlier today with me, Connor, and Grant, we went through a ton of NFL and college football this upcoming week, including every weeknight game. Make sure you check that out. And we'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, with Jose Bouquet right here on the MLB Closing Time Show. For Skee Profit, for Conor Mac, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the baseball. Enjoy Monday Night Football. And good luck with your bets. Cash some tickets. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on the MLB Closing Time Show on Pub Sports Radio.